Hello guys, welcome to Ramta Solutions and welcome to your grade 12 functions. Today in your past paper series, we're looking at functions that were written in the Gauteng September 2023 exam. Okay, so in this exam, we are only focusing on functions. So without any waste of time, let's open the paper and get on with it, okay? All right, let's see. Let's open it. Here is it. I have already opened it. Let me pin it. Okay, I'm pinning it. Let's see. Oh, yeah. All right, so as you can see, the paper was functions begin with question 4. Okay, but of course, that is not necessary. We know what are functions. So let's get into it. And by the way, I want to remind you that it's important that you round your final answers correct to 2 decimal places unless stated otherwise. Okay, when necessary, of course. So, without any waste of time, guys, let's get into it. And now we're looking at this functions topic. So, let's get into it. So, this is question 4. Okay, so it says consider the graphs of g of x equals 6 over denominators x plus 3 and then minus 3 over 2. And h of x is equal to 6 over denominator x minus 3 and then plus 2. These are hyperbolas. Can you guys see them? These are hyperbolas. Okay, these are hyperbolas. So something that I want you to remember is that hyperbolas come in the form a over x plus p plus q, where if a is positive, it's between the first and the third quadrant. And then if a is negative, it is between the second and the fourth quadrant. Now, when we talk of p, that represents horizontal shift. Okay, it represents horizontal shift, meaning left-right translation. And what does it do? It also represents vertical asymptote. Okay, it also represents vertical asymptote. Okay, it also represents vertical asymptote. Okay, so vertical asymptote, I'm going to draw these broken lines. Okay, so to get this vertical asymptote, we will say x is equal to negative p. It's very important that you know this whenever you deal with hyperbolas. Okay, and let's talk of the q. The q represents, what does it represent? The q represents vertical shift. Okay, it represents vertical shift. By that we mean movement of the function up and down. It also represents what we call horizontal asymptote. Okay, it also represents what we call horizontal asymptote. By then we mean these broken lines. Okay, how do we get that? This is when we say y is equal to q. Okay, this is when we say y is equal to q. And then we have your axis of symmetry. I'm going to explain them should we get to a question that requires us to look at the axis of symmetry. Okay, all right. So these are the things that you need to know regarding hyperbolas. All right, so let's get into the question. So the question 4.1. 4.1. Remember, guys, if you are using a mobile device, please rotate your screen so you have the best viewing. Okay, please rotate your mobile device. All right, so 4.1, they say write down the domain of G. Oh, this is G. Do you see this? This is G. So domain, what domain means is that for hyperbola, it says it is valid for all x values. However, not at the value which is the asymptote. So that means x is an element of real numbers, but x is not equal to negative p. This is what you need to know regarding hyperbolas. So to answer our question, we say this is x is an element of real numbers. Okay, x is an element of real numbers, but x is not equal to, what is the value of p here? It is positive 3. So x is not equal to negative 3. Remember, this means your function has shifted to the left by 3 units or with 3 units. Okay. 4.2, they say write down the range of h. Oh, this is h. So what we know about the range of hyperbola is that y is an element of real numbers, meaning it takes all y values. However, it does not take your vertical asymptote. What is your vertical asymptote? Y is not equal to q. Okay, remember your vertical asymptote, y is q. But we're saying range, hyperbola rather, it takes all y values, but it does not take the horizontal asymptote. Alright, this is your horizontal asymptote. That is your range. So to answer your question, your answer is y is an element of real numbers, but y is not equal to, remember we're looking for h, this is h. What is the value of q? It's positive 2. So y is not equal to 2. 2 marks so far. Alright, 4.3. It says if g is if the graph of g is shifted so that it coincides with the graph of h. Ooh, coincides. Okay, coincides. You know what that means, right? What that means is that so that it is one and the same thing. Okay, so that it is one and the same thing. Okay, but it's okay. So let's see. So they say if the graph of g is shifted so that it coincides with the graph of g. 4.3.1, how many units must be shifted horizontally? So this, they're giving us this shifting step by step for it to coincide horizontally. Remember, when they say horizontally, they mean moving leftwards or rightwards. When you look at g has shifted to the left by 3 units. But when you look at h has shifted to the right by 3 units. So you can imagine, I want to show you now, one is at -3, one is at 3. Which one is this? This is g, and this one is h. Now for g to be h, how many units must it move? -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. How many steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you see that? Now to answer your question, you will say it will move 6 units to the right. Okay. 6 units to the right. Happy? So this is the translation that needs to happen. It has been moved 6 units to the right. Okay. Now 4.3.2. 4.3, oh boy, I don't know what I did there. 4.3.2, okay, we are okay, 4.3.1. Now 4.3.2, it says how many units must the graph be shifted vertically? So for the graph to be shifted vertically, here's a thing that I want you to understand. H is at negative, y value is at -3/2. -3/2 is equivalent to 1.5, okay? And sorry, g is at -3/2, which is equivalent to -1.5. When you look at h, it's at 2, +2. So if you look at this, guys, I'm just going to draw so you guys have an idea what I'm talking about. Let's say this is, I'm going to make it -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So we're saying h is here. What is this point? -1. This is -1.5, okay? And then it must go up there, right? So when you look at it, what is this distance? This distance, agree with me, it must be 1, 2, 3, 3.5, isn't it? So to answer this question, we are basically saying, oh, this is h, remember? Sorry, this is g, and then this is h. So g must be moved 3.5 units, right? Cool, so it must be moved 3.5 units up. Okay, this is when g will coincide with h. Okay, 3.5 units up. Happy? Perfect. Now 4.4. Remember guys, if you are using a mobile device, please rotate your screen. Okay, this will give you better viewing. Now 4.4, write down the equations of the asymptote of G. Oh, asymptote of G. We said asymptote, we said horizontal. A reminder, we said horizontal asymptote is this one here. It passes y. It is y equals q, all right? And then we said vertical asymptote is this one here. We said it is x equals negative p, right? This is what we said, right? This is what we said. So what are those values? For G, remember we're looking at G. For G, what are they? Q value is negative 3 over 2, and then P value is positive 3. So this means x is equal to negative 3. So let's see. This means x is equal to negative 3, and then y is equal to negative 3 over 2. Remember, guys, G of x has shifted 3 units to the right. Okay, so this is me trying to remind you what these things are. Okay, perfect. Now, let's see 4.5. Let's see 4.5. So 4.5 says, calculate the x-intercept of G. Okay, perfect. We don't mind. So x-intercept of G. So what does it mean? It means G of x is 0. So therefore, we have 6 over x plus 3 minus 3 over 2 is equal to 0. What we can do, we can cross multiply. So I will say, I want to take it slow, guys, but let me just show you what it'll be ultimately. It'll be 12, or let me do this. It'll be 6 multiplied by 2 minus 3 into x plus 3 close equals 0. So this is 12 minus 3x minus 9, okay? Minus 9 equals 0. Now what is this? This is 3 minus 3x equals 0. So therefore x equals 1. We can therefore say, we can leave it here, but this means our x-intercept is at 1 and 0. Okay, it's at 1 and 0. Okay. If I have confused anyone, this is basically saying multiply by 2 throughout and multiply by x plus 3 throughout. It'll give you this. Okay, I repeat, multiplying by 2 throughout and multiplying by x plus 3 throughout. It'll give you this. Okay. So now they say, I have to go to the next page. They say, sketch the graph of G in your answer book. Show clearly all asymptotes and intercepts with the axis. Now, there's an axis that we do not have, okay? There's an axis that we do not have, which is the y-axis. So we need to find the y-axis first. 4.6, the y-axis will be f of, oh, it's G, by the way. It's G, not f. So G of x, did I use f previously? Okay, I used G. So G of x equals 0. What does it mean? It means we have 6 over x plus 3. Oh no, what am I saying? G of x, G of 0. G of 0, where there's x we put 0. My mistake, G of 0. So that means 6 over 0 plus 3 minus 3 over 2. You guys have calculators, so from your calculator, the value that you are getting, let me also take my calculator. The value that you are getting will be 2 minus 3 over 2. Probably it's half. Yes, so your y-intercept is half. So it's 0 and half, isn't it? It's 0 and half. Okay, it's 0 and half. Right, perfect. So now we can draw our hyperbola. So let's draw it. Okay, it has shifted 3 units to the right. Maybe let me move it here. Should I? Yeah. It has shifted 3 units to the right. So I'm gonna say this is 1, 2, 3. 0, of course. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is y. This is x, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and you guys are negatives. All right, you guys are negatives, And then we have horizontal vertical asymptote x equals minus 3. Where is it? It's here. Right, it's here. I should also go to minus 4, I think. I see I should extend this. I should extend this. Minus 4, minus 5. Let it extend. And what else do we have? It has also shifted negative 1.5 units down. Negative 1.5 is here. So, okay. So what is the y-intercept? Y-intercept was half. X-intercept was, what was it? It was 1 and 0. It was 1 and 0. Okay, here is it. Okay. So for this one, we can draw it like this. And this one, we can just draw it like this. So it's not a big deal. Okay. So this is, by the way, we have shown here where the asymptotes are. We have shown where the intercepts are. So we have all our marks. So now you have your whole 3 marks. Okay? You have your whole 3 marks. Right? You have your whole 3 marks. Okay, this is how you plot this guy. All right. For 3 marks. I don't like the mark allocation here because you had to find a y-intercept. And imagine you have to find y-intercept, they give you 3 marks. Oh boy. But it's okay. Let's not complain. Okay, so 4.7 says to us determine, let me go down. It says determine the value of k if h of x is equal to negative x plus k is an axis of symmetry of G. Oh, we're looking for the axis of symmetry of the hyperbola. Guys, axis of symmetries, these are lines that will be passing. My drawing is not to scale, but they'll be passing here and here. As you can see, they are passing at this point. What is this point? This point has coordinates negative 3 and negative 3 over 2. All right? And negative 3 over 2. Can you see that? Negative 3 and negative 3 over 2. This is the point that these guys are passing. But the axis of symmetry that we're looking at is the one, look at this, with a negative slope. It's this one here, the one with a negative slope. So we are looking for the y-intercept, basically, which is the value of k. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. So 4.7, we will say, I do this in 2 ways, guys, but I'm going to show you those ways. Okay, so I'm going to say option 1. Okay, option 1, I'm going to say, remember you have g of x equals 6 over x plus 3 minus 3 over 2. So what you do with this one, you say, they called it h. You will say h of x is equal to negative open bracket. You're going to take these guys as they are. Let me show you. Or maybe let me give you a background on this. Let me give you a background on this. So generally what we will say, we will say y is equal to plus minus x plus p minus, plus q, not minus. It'll be x plus minus, open bracket, x plus p close, plus q. Okay, generally this is how we find your axis of symmetry. Now, if they are looking for the one with a negative slope, just like in this question, you do this. So let's proceed. Our answer, they called it h. So you will say h is equal to negative x. You write these things as they are. X plus p, it's x plus 3. It's x plus 3. And then minus 3 over 2. This therefore means negative x. This is negative x minus 3 minus 3 over 2. Therefore, we can say h of x is negative x minus 9 over 2, isn't it? Minus 9 over 2, right? So, therefore, this means k is equal to negative 9 over 2. Okay, you can do it in this way. Now, I'm going to show you the second method. Remember, guys, with this one, you just have to put a plus minus, put these guys in a bracket, and then add these ones. So basically, you just write them as they are, but these ones inside it. Okay, let me show you option 2 of this. So option 2, option 2, you have y equals negative x, or negative x plus c for now. Okay, negative x plus c, or let me simply call it plus k, because they called it k, but for now let me not change it to k. Let me just do this. So I'm going to go back to the previous page. So I say this straight line, can you see it? This straight line, we have a point given on this straight line, and we also have a gradient. So the point that was given was which one? It was the point that is basically where the asymptotes are intersecting. The point is -3 and -3/2. Okay, so we're going to substitute it into this. So what is this? -3 and -3/2. So let's substitute. Where there's x, you put -3. Where there's y, you put -3/2. So -3/2 equals -3 plus c is basically called k plus k. So what is this? -3/2 equals 3 plus k. Therefore, this means k is -9/2. Right? It's -9/2. As simple as that. So it's up to you which method you prefer. Okay, guys? Whichever you prefer, it's good. Perfect. 4.8. So 4.8, we have, they say, for which value or values of x will this guy, I want you to look at this, 6/x plus 3 minus 3/2 be greater than -x plus k. Okay, so what is this? This, you have seen it, is what you called, or you know it, it's what you call your g of x, right? This is what you call your g of x. And then what is this guy? You just calculated him now. He was your -x minus 9/2. What did you call him? You called him h of x, right? You called him h of x. Happy? You called him h of x, which is what you were given at 4.7. So now you go into that diagram I showed you, right? You go to the diagram that I showed you. This is basically your h of x. Okay, this is your h. Remember, this one was your g, right? This one was your g, right? This one was your g. Now, this question is basically saying g of x is greater than h of x. What does it mean? It means, listen carefully, guys. What it means is that g of x is above h of x. So look to the right of x equals -3. To the left, rather. To the left of x equals -3. As you can see, g, which is this one here, is above h. That's not what we are looking for. But now, to the right of x equals -3, g is above, can you see it? G is above h. And that's exactly what we are looking for. So our answer is simply x is greater than -3. Okay, so our answer is simply x is greater than -3. Okay, x is greater than -3. Guys, I want you to remember that when you were drawing this graph at 4.6, these red lines were not there or are not there. I just drew these red lines to demonstrate. You don't necessarily have to draw them. Okay, I just drew them to demonstrate. Okay, now the graph of g is reflected, I like this one, the graph of g is reflected in the x-axis. I write down the new equation in the form y equals, I like this one. Let's go. The graph of g, this is 4.9. So 4.9, when they say reflect in the x-axis, this is u, and they say reflect in the x-axis, right? They say reflect in the x-axis. When they say reflect in the x-axis, your y value will be a negative. So in other words, y is equal to negative g of x. Okay, a reminder, what is g? G was 6/x plus 3 minus 3/2. Okay, so therefore, what is y? Y is -6/x plus 3 plus 3/2. I hope you guys understand this. All right. So this is it, guys. This is question 4. We are not yet done. Okay, we are not yet done. Okay, we are not yet done. So let's proceed to the next question. Let's proceed to the next question. Okay, so this is question 5. This is question 5. Question 5, it says the graph of f of x is equal to negative open bracket x minus 7 over 2 r squared plus 81 over 4. And g of x is equal to negative 3x plus 24 as sketched below. Nice. The graph of f and g intersects at point D and B. Okay. Points A and B are x-intercepts of f. I can see that. Ooh, I already know what point E is. Okay. I already know what point E is. So no worries about. Proceeding. Now, let's answer the first question. Write down the coordinates of E, the turning point of F. Oh, nice. Remember, guys, when you are given your parabola in the form A into X plus P all square plus Q. Remember, when A is positive, this guy is smiling. And then when A is negative, this guy is frowning. Now, this P, what it represents horizontal shift. Okay, it represents horizontal shift. What is that? That is movement from the left to the right and vice versa. Okay, so it is also axis of symmetry. Okay, it is also axis of symmetry. Therefore, axis of symmetry will be x equals negative p. It's important that you know this. Okay, now we talk of Q. This is basically x value of the turning point. Okay, this, what it represents vertical shift. Okay, it represents vertical shift, which is movement up and down. Okay, so it is y value of the turning point. It is y value of the turning point. Okay, it is y value of the turning point. Okay, so if A is positive, this is called a minimum. Okay, this is called a minimum. Okay, it's a minimum value. If A is negative, this is a maximum. Okay, when they say maximum, they basically are looking at this turn. Okay, then we talk turning point. Allow me to call it TP. Turning point will be axis of symmetry. What is it? Negative P and Q. That's your turning point. Okay, now domain for parabola, it's valid for all x values. So x is an element of real numbers. Let me not write that down. Maybe let me. So when we talk domain, any x value you can think of will return an alternative y value. Now for range, you need to be careful. For range, it depends. When A is positive, it will be something else. When A is negative, it will be another thing. So when A is positive, you will say y will take all x values, but y will basically be, how should I put it? Okay, y will be an element of, because it's positive, it's this one here, will be an element of included q value to infinity. All right, now when it's like this, y is an element of real numbers, but y is what? Is an element of, where does it come from? Negative infinity, right? Negative infinity to q. Now q, it must be a square bracket. Okay, otherwise, because the space is not sufficient, otherwise, others prefer to say, let me do this. I also like that one. So you can say, oh, when it's like this, you can say it's smiling. So it means it takes the minimum. So it will be y is greater or equal to q. When it's frowning, look at this. It means it takes all values equal to and below the maximum. So it will be y is less or equal to q. Okay, so this is all you need regarding parabolas, especially when it's given in this form. Okay, perfect. So without any waste of time, let's answer the questions. 5.1, determine the coordinates of E, the turning point of F. Ooh, remember what I said? So here, when you look at it, what is P? P is negative 7 over 2. that means it has shifted to the right. So by shifting to the right, we can proudly say our turning point, 5.1, the coordinates of E, we can say E has coordinates positive 7 over 2, and what is Q? Q value is positive 81 over 4. So it will be 81 over 4. Okay, this is your turning point. By the way, this is 5.1. Okay, this is 7 over 2 and 81 over 4. Okay, and this is exactly what we said. Remember, we said P here is negative. Negative times negative makes it positive, to really show that indeed it has moved to the right. Can you see that? Here you expect a positive X value. So we are correct. Remember guys, if you're using your mobile device or if you're using a mobile device, please rotate your screen. Alright, determine the average gradient of the curve between x equals 1 and x equals 5. So let's look at f of 1. Okay, f of 1, what is it? It means where there's x, we will put 1. Okay, where there's x, you will put 1. You guys have calculators. Don't try to solve this manually. You have calculators. So it's negative open bracket 1 minus 7 over 2 close bracket all square plus 81 over 4. What do we get? We get 14. We get 14. Now let's look for f of, they said 5. Okay, they said 5. Right, f of 5. So what is f of 5? Again, where there's x, you put 5. Okay, where there's x, you put 5. I got 18. Okay, I got 18. All right, so now average gradient will be average gradient. So the average gradient will be f of, allow me to say f of 5. Okay, f of 5 minus f of 1 all over x value is 5, while another x value is positive 1. So what is this? This is 14 minus, oh, sorry, it's 18, not 14. It was 18 minus 14 all over 5 minus 1. So our answer is simply, you see, it's 4, so it's 1. Answer is 1. Therefore, our average gradient between these 2 points is 1. Happy? Perfect. Now, let's then proceed to 5.2. So 5.2, it says determine the value of, 5.3. Determine the value of A, the x coordinate of D. Cool. So as you can see, D is basically point of intersection between G and F. What does it mean? It means f of x is equal to g of x. These are points of intersection. What was f? Ooh, f was negative x minus 7 over 2 all square plus 81 over 4 is equal to, what is g? Negative 3x plus 24. Right? Negative 3x plus 24. So this is negative. When I simplify this, it will be x squared minus, I think it'll be minus 7x plus 49 over 4 plus 81 over 4 equals negative 3x plus 24. So this is negative x squared plus 7x minus 49 over 4 plus 81 over 4 plus 3x minus 24 equals 0. All right. Now, further simplification, we have negative x squared, I think, plus 10x. Oh, 49 over 4. 14, okay. I'm going to use a calculator. Minus 49 over 4 plus 81 over 4 minus 24. What do we get? We get negative 16 equals 0. So I divide by a negative. This becomes x squared minus 10x plus 16 equals 0. Factorization, it's possible. I see 8 and 2. I see 8 and 2. Yes, both are positive. Both are negative. Perfect. So what do we have? We have x equals 8 or x equals 2. When you look at these 2 points, one that is supposed to be 2 seems like A. Therefore, I will conclude and say, therefore, A is equal to 2. Okay, I will conclude and say A is equal to 2. Happy? This is because as you move from this point to the right, from 0 to the right, x increases. So it makes sense that this x value is smaller than this x value here. Okay? Okay. Now, 5.4, let's see, 5.4, nice. 5.4 says point S with coordinates xy is a point on the graph of f where A is where A is x rather, where x is greater or equal to A but less or equal to 8. Oh, perfect. Now, line ST is drawn parallel to the y-axis. Did you hear that? Here is it. It's drawn parallel to the y-axis on the graph of G. Can you see that? On the graph of G. Okay, I see that. Determine ST in terms of x. So what we do, we will say ST is basically, when you look at it, it is distance between these 2 points. So do you know the y value here? For now, you do not know it. So rather say it's, you know the graph is f. So rather say it's f of x. Do you know the y value here? You do not know it. So rather say, what is this? I think it was g. Yes, it's g. So it's g of x. So what is f of x? Ooh, that issue again. Negative x minus 7 over 2 all square plus 81, right, over 4, right, minus 3, oh boy, open bracket please, minus 3x plus 24, right, minus 3x plus 24, okay? And guys, we have somehow simplified this before. Let me show you. Look at this. Do you see this? Doesn't it look like what we are trying to do? Do you see this? So this is negative x squared plus 10x minus 16. Okay. So this is negative x squared plus 10x minus 16. Right? This is just 2 marks. So this is all that we need. Do you guys agree with me? This is what we got here. This is what we got here. Remember here, as you can see, especially at this point, this is where g of x is going to the other side. So it's basically minus g of x. Do you see that? So we got this. Then we can relax. Right? Then we can relax. This is our ST. Okay? This part here is our ST. Okay? This part here is our ST. However, if maybe you want to prove this, you can simplify this by expanding these brackets. You will still get the same thing. Okay? Perfect. 5.5. So 5.5 says calculate the maximum length. Ooh. When they say maximum length, they say maximum length of ST. So you look at the function of ST. This function of ST, when you look at it, it's a parabola. Do you see it? It's a parabola. But what kind of a parabola? A frowning parabola. So a frowning parabola, this is why you will get what? This is why you will get, what is this? This is why you will get, remind me? This is why you will get a maximum value. But this maximum value, you can also get it by doing what? By completing a square or by doing calculus. Okay, so let's differentiate. So I'm going to say the ST dx. What is it? It is basically, here is it. What is it? It is negative 2x plus, negative 2x plus 10, isn't it? Now this should be equated to 0 because you're looking for a maximum value. Is equated to 0. Now what do you get? You get 2x equals 10, therefore x equals 5, right? Therefore, x equals 5. Now you need to know what is the maximum distance. So the maximum distance, ST, I'm going to say at x equals 5. What you're going to do, where there's x on ST, you substitute 5. So this will be minus 5 squared plus 10, open bracket, 5, close it, minus 16. What do you get? You get 9, right? You get 9. Therefore, conclude, you get 9. Therefore, when you conclude, you will say maximum distance is 9. Therefore, maximum distance of ST is 9. Maximum distance of ST is 9 units. Okay. Otherwise, you can complete a square of this guy. Okay. Otherwise, you can complete a square of this guy. Okay. You can complete a square of this guy. You will get the same thing. All right. Do you guys want to try it? Let's try it. Option 2. Option 2. ST equals negative x squared plus 10x minus 16. You need to take the negative as a common factor. You are left with negative x squared minus 10x plus 16. Right? So this is x squared minus 10x plus half the coefficient of x, which is 10. So it will be minus 5 minus 5 all squared plus 16. All right. So this is x minus 5 all square minus 25 plus 16. So this is x minus 5 all square minus 9. Therefore, what is this? This is minus x minus 5 all square plus 9. Do you guys see that? Plus 9. Therefore, maximum distance is 9. Isn't it? Such a beauty. So if currently or at the moment your calculus is not that on point, complete a square. Okay. If at the moment your calculus is not on point, complete a square. Of course, this only applies when it's a parabola. But only when it's a parabola, it's easy to find your maximum or your minimum. Okay. Therefore, maximum distance is, let me not conclude, but take you to this, that your maximum distance of ST is 9. Here is it. Remember I said the Q value is your maximum if coefficient, if your A is negative. So indeed, it's a. Okay. Perfect. Now, let's conclude this. Okay, let's conclude this. When we conclude this section, we will say question 6. Let's see what it has for us. Question 6 says, the graph of f of x is equal to 3 to the x is sketched below. P with coordinates minus 1 and 1 over 3 is a point on f. Okay, cool. They say now, write 6.1, write f inverse in the form of that. So it's okay, I don't mind. So what we know that y is equal to 3 to the x. So I'm going to say, when you say inverse, that means where there's x you put y, where there's y you put x. You will say x is equal to 3 to the y. Now what do we know? What do we know so far? We know this will be, we have to log it. So it'll be, let me start this like you guys have no idea what I'm doing. Okay? So what is this? This will become log x. Now this will be dropped. It will be y log 3. So therefore, you will be having log x over log 3 equals y. But you guys, you can write this in a simpler manner, which we therefore say y is equal to log x base 3. Okay, so from here, you can come here directly. I just wanted to show you these steps. Okay, but they are not necessary. Okay, from here, you can come here directly. Okay, or even from here, you can come here directly. Okay, so it's totally up to you whether you do this or whether you come here directly or you start by doing this and come here. It's totally up to you. Okay, so this is your F inverse. Okay, this is your F inverse. All right. Now, sketch. They say sketch what? Sketch F inverse and F inverse shifted by 2 units to the right. I think this is 2 units to the right. On the same set of axes in your answer book. Clearly indicate all intercepts. So what I want to do here, guys, is this. I want to show you something, that what you are having, you shouldn't struggle whenever they show you, whenever they talk about, what is this? Inverses. Okay, let's say this is our inverse. With this inverse, our y-intercept, which is point Q, will be 0 and y. And we have a point here, which is P. It's called minus 1 and 1 over 3. Okay? So what you need, this is F. Okay? This is F. By the way, you are y, and by the you are x. What was the domain here? The range rather is y is greater than 0. So you also need, what was your domain will become your range. Now pay attention. What you need, I'm going to start with F inverse of x. This is 0 and 1. It'll become 1 and 0, which is here. This is minus 1 and 1 over 3. It'll become 1 over 3 and minus 1, which will be here. So this is your point. Okay? So what is this one here? It's 1. Okay? They said you must clearly indicate all intercepts with the axis. What is this? This is F inverse. Okay? This is F inverse. Now, this one here is F inverse shifted. Hear me out. This one here is F inverse shifted. Hear me out. This one here is F inverse shifted 2 units to the right. If you shift it 2 units to the right, means you will have 2, you'll have 3. So, and pay attention, if you shift it 2 units to the right, this point here will be its asymptote. Okay, this point here will be its asymptote. And then everything has been shifted 2 units to the right. Okay, so it'll be like this. This is F inverse of x minus 2. Okay, this is it, guys. This is your graph. I believe that in the answer sheet, right, in the answer book, they have drawn this guy. All that you need to do is to draw these guys, and you are good to go. Okay, and you are good to go. All right, perfect. Now, we are basically done. All right, we are basically done with this. All right, perfect. Now, 6.3, check this out. 6.3 says, use your graphs drawn in question 6.2 to solve for x if log x minus 2 base 3 is less than 1. It's less than 1. Wow, that's interesting. Eh? It's less than 1. Now, I want you guys to know something. Okay, I want you guys to know something. So, what you need to know first is this. You need to know this. What is log? What is this x value when this guy is equal to 1? What is it? So that means we have x minus 2 equals 3 to the 1. Therefore, this is x minus 2 equals 3. So x equals 5, isn't it? This means x equals 5, right? X equals 5. Guys, pay attention here. This means y is less than 1. So this guy, okay, this guy, when x is 5, y is 1. But pay attention. They say y value must be less than 1. So if, let's say this point here, y value is less than 1, somewhere here, it's less than 1, it means it's including all x values, right? It means it's including all x values. But our issue is that it doesn't really include all x values. It will include x values that are greater than 2, but less than 5. Okay, so when we conclude this, we'll say this means x is greater. This means x is greater than 2, but less than 5. Okay, why am I saying that? Guys, when you say, it's tempting to say, oh, this means x is less than 5. That is not true. If you say x is less than 5, that therefore means, are you saying 2 is also valid for this? It's not. Are you saying 1? Are you saying 0 and all these other values to your left are included for this? They are not, right? They are not. So this is why I'm saying x is greater than 2 but less than 5, because they said y value should be less than 1. But for this particular function, it's when x is greater than 2 but less than 5. Okay, so this is it, guys. I hope you guys understand this, and yeah, it'll go well for you. I call this section the easiest, to be honest with you. So with that being said, and remember to get in touch with us, you can visit our website, ramtasolutions.co.za. And from the very same website, you can get links to our social media. You can email us, and even if you want to talk to us on WhatsApp, you can also talk to us. So with that being said, ours ends here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this question paper. So, bye-bye.